Coming to you from the Hudson Media Group studio, this is Talking Politics, and I am New Jersey's premier award-winning journalist, Top 50 Latino as voted on by the Latino Spirit Online magazine and the United States Latino Affairs Initiative, as well as being the weapon of mass disruption in Garden State media, and certainly folks of traffic will tell you every single week statewide, the people's choice and the people's voice, and without a doubt, the most handsome face that runs the place. It is me, Fernando Uribe. Hope you're having a wonderful, week, and certainly as we are wrapping up October, my favorite time of the year, ladies and gentlemen, as Halloween is quickly approaching. Hope you'll have a wonderful and safe Halloween with friends and family, and again, always remember to party responsibly. As always, there's a lot to discuss, so let's get started. Here's what I'm thinking about right now. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's one of those things where I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to be malicious. I'm not trying to be a bully at all. But sometimes the jokes just write themselves when it comes to certain local officials. And when it came to my attention that Hoboken Mayor Ravi Bala was selected to a panel, I just had to laugh because I'm thinking the first thing that came to my mind was, who's deciding this? But more on that later. And first off, a special thank you to the great staff at the Jersey Journal, certainly Ron Zentlinger, for his reporting on this story. Now, the mayor of Hoboken has been selected as one of just 22 elected local officials across the nation for the inaugural Assembly of Local Leaders, otherwise known as ALL, A-L-L, a U.S. Department of State. What a cluster blank that is over there in Washington with the rest of this administration there. And their initiative to engage state and local leaders on key issues that affect their communities, which is really funny. More on that later. The first of its kind assembly, which will kick off at the start of 2024, will include the Emperor himself, New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy, and mayors from major cities across the country. Now, the members ultimately will serve a 3-year term through 2026. Now, Nina Hatchikin and the U.S. Department of State entrusted Mayor Ravi Bala with this responsibility, and he went on to say, quote, "I'm deeply honored and grateful to the administration. It's a privilege to collaborate with leaders from diverse cities and states across our nation." Now, this is what's really interesting here. The group will gather to discuss, inform, and address the global matters that impact local communities, such as the climate change crisis. I'm sorry, I have to laugh, folks. I mean, the climate hysteria that exists among the left, not just in New Jersey, but nationally and worldwide, is really laughable, to be fair with you. Public health, foreign investment, and economic development, according to officials from the Department of State. Now, once again, Bala also wanted to say, quote, "Together we will continue to help forge innovative policies that directly address the global challenges that the Hoboken community, like so many others, face every day, such as the escalating impact of climate change. I look forward to the opportunity to join my colleagues in creating a brighter and more sustainable future for all of our constituents." Well, again, nice job by Ron Zentlinger, if I'm not mistaken, the editor of the Jersey Journal, for the details here. But folks, I have to tell you, this is a guy who, you know what, he's a snake. That's what Ravi Bala is. He's just an outright snake. I could say worse, but this is a family program. Okay? But let's be fair, ladies and gentlemen. He has zero interest in addressing any climate crisis or climate change or really fueling the climate hysteria that exists. Because if he was really serious, he'd be doing more than, I don't know, opening up new parks in Hoboken or repainting the crosswalks during Pride Month, because that seems to be high on Ravi Bala's agenda, as opposed to really fixing the flooding problem in Hoboken and, of course, everything else that's wrong with the Mouse Square City. Now, listen, I don't know who the rest of the leaders are in this panel, but, ALL, well, it sounds like ASS as far as I'm concerned. That's what I think is the quality here so far. But again, and let me, if I could be serious for a moment here, ladies and gentlemen, all this does is just create more bureaucracy. That's all it does. It gives officials an extra excuse to grandstand. It gives officials like this an extra excuse to bloviate on issues that we all know they have zero interest in solving. Okay, and sure, and thankfully the term is only for 3 more years. Now, when the term expires in 2026, thankfully the Emperor Phil Murphy will be out of office. I mean, who knows who will succeed him? A lot remains to be seen on that front. And certainly for Hoboken Mayor Ravi Bala, we'll see. Hopefully, maybe he's out of office too, since he's up for re-election in 2025. But again, folks, I don't mean to pick on the mayor, because I know that for anyone that knows us, knows that there's a severe dislike between us. Maybe not so much on my end, but maybe more on his end, because, it seems like when the mayor decided to pick a fight with me online over the summer during Pride Month, I'm the wrong guy to F with online, because I can just cook you in ways that you're just not prepared for. And that's what happened back in June when Ravi Bala thought he was being cute by calling me out on Twitter. Well, subsequently, we all know what happened. It wasn't just so much the feedback I got on a positive note on my Twitter because of my comments during Pride Month on his Twitter page, but subsequently my comments and my roast of Ravi Bala on my show Real Talk with Fernando Uribe via Jersey First, which, by the way, airs on Monday nights live at 6 p.m. via Jersey First TV. But folks, really, at the heart of the matter is, again, bureaucracy like this doesn't solve anything. And I understand, many on the left, certainly, their heart's in the right place, but let's be honest, their heads are up their asses. And it shows every single time when it comes to creating these panels or these assemblies or a task force or any sort of think tank that's there to solve problems that are, that the global communities face on a daily basis. You really want to address issues that really matter. Maybe the fentanyl crisis, with the amount of fentanyl that's coming across our borders and is killing tens of thousands of men and women every single day in the United States and also in parts of Latin America. How about addressing like real poverty issues? Not just, we have to, re-examine the war on poverty. War on poverty has been around for over 50 years, folks. Okay. It was enacted under President Lyndon Johnson in the late 1960s. Okay. And believe it or not, the same percentage of people living in poverty today are the same percentage of people living in poverty back in 1967. The only difference is the population has grown, but poverty hasn't decreased even slightly. But back to issues that really face our communities. How about maybe, deregulating certain narcotics? At the federal level, for example, marijuana is still a serious substance and can carry serious jail time at the federal level. Well, why don't you declassify that? Why don't you just deschedule it and help maybe accelerate the amount of expungements that will help people from all backgrounds, not just people of color, white, brown, Middle Eastern, Asian, whoever, that continue to be, really disenfranchised and marginalized by the antiquated drug laws that are still present at the federal level. Yes, sure, folks, here in New Jersey, we can pass a referendum and decriminalize and ultimately legalize cannabis and encourage people to use cannabis and hemp products for medicinal purposes and really for ways that, are much more beneficial than any pain medication could ever be, especially with all of its addictive qualities. These are the issues that, quite frankly, folks, face our communities every single day. Now, don't hold your breath and think that Ravi Bala, Phil Murphy, and many, which I'm sure many on the left, will be comprising this assembly. I don't know exactly which officials at a local level will consist of. Again, once again, shout out to Ron Zettlinger, but apparently it'll be 22 elected officials. I am salivating right now to think who the other 19 are, because I'll tell you something, folks. If these two are any indication about who's going to solve global problems, it's not these guys. But, I'm an optimist. I don't want to be a cynic. I don't want to be a Karen or a Debbie Downer or a Connie complainer. I'll look at this, through sort of a positive outlook. But folks, if the way that Phil Murphy has run New Jersey into the ground, now let's be fair, the way that Ravi Bala has run Hoboken into the ground, if that's any indication of what to expect on this panel, you know what? You can count me out, because I'll tell you right now, same problems will be there in 2026 that still exist in 2023. And that's what I'm thinking about right now. Now to some local stories for your consideration. Once again, thank you to the editor of the Hudson County View and a member of the Pinnacle here in Hudson County, John R. Hines, for his reporting on this story. Now, 73%, or really a large portion of Democratic voters, support Jersey City Mayor Stephen Fulop's plan to use New Jersey's corporate business tax to fund New Jersey Transit, according to a new poll conducted by Fairly Dickinson University. One of several components of the statewide transportation plan that the mayor of Jersey City unveiled this past summer. Now let's sort of delve into this a little bit more because I think it's a really, really interesting story here. Now, according to Dan Cancino, a FDU professor of government and politics and the director of the poll, he went out to say, quote, the pandemic and the federal money it brought eased the pressure on New Jersey Transit for a couple of years. But the problems haven't gone away, and work from home means that they're only going to get worse. Quote, the fact that this is a restored tax rather than a new one helps with support. Democrats also tend to favor taxes on corporations, and giving the money to New Jersey Transit is just the icing on the cake. Now, this year, a temporary corporate tax surcharge of 2.5% on profits over $1 million, which had been in place since 2010, was allowed to lapse, since 2020. Now, the tax surcharge brought in more than $500 million per year, and part of Phillips' transportation plan, his first as a declared gubernatorial candidate for the Democrat Party, proposes to restore the surcharge and earmark the revenue for New Jersey Transit. Now, the proposal has 54% approval among the 813 New Jerseyans that were surveyed, with independents giving 52% approval and Republicans just 29%. Now, Phillips' push for dedicated funding for New Jersey Transit also has support from advocacy groups such as the Tri-State Transportation Campaign and the New Jersey Policy Perspective, both very liberal-leaning think tanks. But again, I don't really think that's an issue per se, but it's important to sort of point out who's supporting it, which issued a report in late September calling for the CBT to be continued and dedicated to mass transit funding. On the other hand, Phillips' congestion pricing concept to combat what New York City has implemented only received 43% approval and 45% disapproval overall from the respondents. Now, the aspect of his plan was most popular among Essex, Hudson, Mercer, Middlesex, and Union counties, with 48% approval and 39% disapproval among residents in those areas. It was the least popular down the shore with Atlantic, Cape May, Monmouth, and Ocean counties with 37% approval and a whopping 50% disapproval among the respondents there, fairly expected among more heavily Republican populations. Now, the aspect of the plan initially drew some criticism from political adversaries. For example, U.S. Representative Josh Gottheimer out of the 5th Congressional District, Rob Menendez out of the 8th Congressional District, and Mikey Sherrill, all Democrats, from the 11th Congressional District, with Gottheimer and Sherrill considered likely gubernatorial opponents for Stephen Fulop in 2025. Folks, let me just break this down for you because on face value, I like what Steve Fulop is proposing here. Now, listen, as a conservative and someone who's a fiscal conservative, I'm always worried when Democrats, far-leaning Democrats, progressives, or whatever, think that just taxing corporations is going to solve everything. That's not always the case, usually cutting spending and everything else. But I think the real culprit here that doesn't really get scrutinized enough is New Jersey Transit, folks. This is an institution here in New Jersey that continues to let us down year after year. Case in point, I'll sort of, hopefully you're ready for story time with Fernando Uribe, baby, as they say. And when I first took the light rail many moons ago, really at the start of somewhere in the early 2000s, I saw the promise in what the light rail could ultimately become, right? The Hudson-Bergen light rail. And folks, it's 2020. It's basically 2024 in just about, 8 weeks. And we are no closer to getting any tracks laid down in Bergen County to ultimately finish the Hudson-Bergen light rail than we were even 20 years ago. And that's what's really disappointing, ladies and gentlemen, because, again, more and more people are moving to the area. More and more people drive cars. And I get it. We're inundated with all these bicycles and motor scooters. And we all know how much I loathe some of these riders for the potential public safety hazard that they continue to pose every single day. But having said that, folks, more and more people are driving automobiles. That's just not going to change. Okay? And New Jersey Transit really hasn't done enough to dissuade people from driving their vehicles. Okay? Case in point. Up here in northern Hudson County, sure, there are light rail terminals on Tunnelly Avenue in North Bergen, certainly on Bergen Line Avenue, right in the uptown portion of Union City. But then it goes towards the riverfront. It goes into Port Imperial, Lincoln Harbor, subsequently into Hoboken. And of course, it veers off into different directions. It'll go to the west side of Jersey City. It'll go to downtown Jersey City. It'll go all the way down south into Bayonne. But folks, really, to make New Jersey Transit an example like the light rail, it should have been, listen, tracks should have been laid down along River Road. We should have been able to access parts of West New York along the waterfront, Edgewater, going into even Fort Lee, even parts of southern Bergen County, into Cresskill, Alpine, even as far west as maybe extending the light rail out into Hackensack by Riverside Square Mall. That's a very popular destination for people. Guess what? All the way out into Garden State Plaza or Paramus Park Mall. That would help alleviate all the just insufferable traffic, folks, that we have to endure on Route 17 and Route 4 and the Garden State Parkway. But again, New Jersey Transit just continues to sit on its ass and not do anything. Okay? Bus services are always running behind schedule. Train schedules are never on time. And folks, what exactly are we paying? All right? Because our tax dollars pay for New Jersey Transit. What are we getting as an ROI, our return on investment? I have to tell you, folks, as someone who grades for a living, if I have to give a grade to New Jersey Transit, it's an outright F. It's not even debatable. Now, again, I applaud Mayor Fulop for trying to be proactive and trying to think of solutions on this. But unless you do some serious house cleaning within New Jersey Transit, nothing's going to change, ladies and gentlemen. It just isn't. We need to either audit that agency and see where there is waste. And I guarantee you, okay, I will guarantee you, okay, as far out as my hairline recedes, I can tell you, okay, that there is considerable waste in New Jersey Transit. It's going to take a governor, it's going to take a legislature that's willing to hold New Jersey Transit accountable. I'm not sure if that's going to happen anytime soon, but I'll tell you this much. In terms of funding New Jersey Transit, that's a pretty good idea by Mayor Stephen Fulop in Jersey City. We'll see where it goes. As we all know, he might have some challengers in the Democrat Party soon enough. Let's go to Union City now. And once again, a thank you to Julio Reynoso and Jeff Henning from Hudson TV for their reporting on this very important story. Folks, Halloween's right around the corner. It's my favorite time of the year. I love dressing up. I love going to Halloween parties. It's just fun and festive. And in the city of Union City, we can thank Mayor and State Senator Brian Stack, along with the Board of Commissioners, for their upcoming Halloween party. And here's everything you need to know about why this event is going to be such a success in Union City. Now, coming up on Halloween Day, Tuesday, October the 31st, from 5 p.m. until 7 p.m., the annual Union City Halloween Festival for Kids will be there, taking place on 15th Street between Burger Line and New York Avenue. Now, the festival will feature free rides, candy, and activities specifically designed for kids during the Halloween season. The event also aims to educate families on Halloween safety, including costume guidelines and candy inspection tips. Now, the Union City Children's Halloween Festival ultimately provides a safe and fun environment for our families to celebrate this holiday with free admission. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm urging you right now, it's an event you definitely don't want to miss. And all I can say, ladies and gentlemen, is when we think about Halloween, listen, it's always been my favorite holiday. Since I was a kid, I love dressing up. I love going to costume parties. And obviously, as you get older and you start drinking alcohol, the parties get even better, not just here in North Jersey in the nightlife, but across the river in New York City. But folks, like anything else, it's always important to party responsibly, be safe and vigilant during any time of the year, much less Halloween. But certainly enjoy it with family and friends, and certainly have a great time during the festivities. But getting back to Union City, folks, what can you say about the dedication and commitment that Mayor and New Jersey State Senator Brian Stack has to the community in Union City, and really to the entire 33rd Legislative District? But coming up on Halloween, folks, parents and kids alike will get to enjoy a wonderful and festive Halloween party with, from my understanding, the weather's going to be great. And you know what? It's always a good time to celebrate Halloween with great weather, with great friends, and ultimately having a great time. Let's go back to Jersey City, and a special thank you to Ryan Kilkenny from the Jersey City Times for this very important story. Now, apparently there's rats, roaches, and mold. High school students throughout Jersey City slam these awful conditions. Now, cockroaches, rats, and mold are just 3 issues plaguing Jersey City high schools, according to a group of student activists who appeared at a recent Board of Education public meeting. Now, members of the Revolutionizers of Jersey City high schools include students from all 8 Jersey City public high schools. Quote, "Our goal is to help the infrastructure issues in our buildings," according to Diane Diaz, a 16-year-old poet and artist in the Jersey City Arts program at Snyder High School and also a student at Lincoln High School. We have ACs that don't work, paint that's coming off the walls. We have cockroaches and rats that are joining us in attendance for class and ultimately are taking notes. Diaz continued that the group interviewed members of their schools about the school's conditions, and the answers were disheartening. Students reported that some locks do not work in bathroom stalls, water spills when the toilets flush, and soap is not always stocked in every bathroom. Quote, I'm honestly disgusted with this, and she's calling for immediate action. Now, high school senior Mariam Ibrahim went on to say, quote, I would like for these schools to be clean before I leave, who's also had experiences with pests in the schools and unsanitary conditions in the restrooms. These conditions adversely impact the performance of all students, according to Ibrahim, and a negative impact and environment is not good for students, but a positive environment is ultimately great for students. Now, an 11th grader at Ferris High School, Sarah Reyes, spoke about her experience during the public meeting, using the restroom, feeling water dripping onto her and looking up to see mold on the ceiling while water is leaking. Where's our funds to fix our ceilings? Reyes also raised concerns about the lack of funding for the Jersey City Arts program. She has been in the program for 4 years, but has never appeared on stage, reportedly due to a lack of funding, which has become a systematic issue across the district for other activities, including sports. All the board members who responded to the public comments praised the revolutionizers for speaking about their concerns. I mean, that's what tends to happen sometimes at these board meetings where, yes, people will come up and speak, but in some instances, board members just sit there sort of like twiddling their thumbs and nothing gets accomplished. Now, Superintendent Norma Fernandez ensured that she would speak with custodial and maintenance employees to work with their supervisors to ensure the sanitation of all school facilities. Now, Trustee LaKendrick Shaw requested a briefing at the next meeting about custodial staff inspections and placed an emphasis on making schools a safe and healthy learning environment. Now, Trustee Lorenzo Richardson called the revolutionizers, quote, rock stars. He said, you brought some concerns to me that should not be present right now. But because of previous actions taken and money spent in the district, both for the facilities and arts and music programs, Richardson called for action to be taken with, quote, a quick turnaround. Now, the arts program in Jersey City used to be one of the best in the state, said Vice President Naomi Velasquez. If it's failing everywhere, let's bring it back together. Now, according to Trustee Afaf Mohammed, now that the students have made their concerns known, quote, it's on our superintendent's ears. It's on our ears, and the work just has to be done. Another pressing issue for Jersey City students addressed at the recent meeting was wearing hoodies in school, especially about claims of hoodies being confiscated from students at school. Now, Trustee Mohammed, who wore an orange Snyder High School hoodie to the meeting in anticipation of the topic, recalled her personal history of wearing hoodies in school as, quote, security. Students today may need a hoodie as a comfort item to make them feel safe in school. So suddenly confiscating them at school could cause more harm and stress to the child than anticipated, according to Mohammed. As Trustee Richardson pointed out, hoodies were being sold by a vendor at Snyder High School, and they were an additional layer needed for changes in room temperature. Quote, we need to make sure that our policy does not reflect a view of our students in a negative way, just like we should be doing in terms of equity with a lot of other policies, according to Richardson. Now, Superintendent Fernandez once again reaffirmed that hoodies can be worn to and from school, but hoods cannot be worn over the head during school hours, denying any claims about confiscation. Now, Fernandez says she will convene a committee of educators and senior staff to review the hoodie policy and how it is implemented in the schools, which will be addressed if necessary. Once again, shout out to the Jersey City Times for good reporting here. Folks, I couldn't agree more. And, you know, for the most part, I never tend to side with social justice clowns or potential woke fools or all these warriors out there. But I got to tell you, the revolutionizers here in Jersey City really caught my attention. So bravo to these kids for having the courage to go to the Jersey City Board of Education and speak during the public portion. That's not easy. If you all remember when we were 16 years old, I mean, just getting in front of a classroom to give an oral book report was an overwhelming and at times a very, very difficult challenge. So kudos to these kids for getting up there and holding the superintendent and the trustees accountable. Now, we all know certain trustees are up for election in less than 2 weeks, but regardless of that, it's impressive to see these kids going up there and really holding these officials to account, starting with the superintendent and the board of trustees. Because, folks, I'm a proud Memorial Tiger. Okay, through and through, all day, every day. And I remember going to Memorial, and it still is considered one of the best urban high schools, not just in Hudson County, but throughout the state of New Jersey. I never had to live through that. I was quite fortunate that my high school education at Memorial was sanitary, was safe, and quite frankly, was enjoyable. Yes, we all go through the rigors and the stressors of adolescence and puberty and everything else that goes with being a high school student. But I have to tell you, folks, to listen to these kids about the conditions that they have to endure every single day, it's just disheartening. Whether you're in the arts program, not having enough funding for that, or for sports or for anything else. I don't know what the hell they're doing over there at the Board of Education in Jersey City, but they need to get their act together, and they need to get it together quite quickly, because honestly, folks, this is just demoralizing. Kids don't deserve this. Normally during adolescence and as they're getting ready to go to college, whether it's art students, student athletes, writers, poets, whoever the case may be, potential doctors, lawyers, attorneys, engineers, you name it. Their high school experience should be a pleasant one, not unsanitary, not dirty, and ultimately not a really unpleasant one, which seems to be the case in Jersey City. And that's our show for this week. Once again, to check out all the excellent content brought to you by the leader in independent media right here in Hudson County, the Hudson Media Group, please go to their websites, www.hmgtvshows.com, as well as www.livestream.com/hmgtv. Folks, don't forget to like the Hudson Media Group on Facebook, as well as this show, Talking Politics with Fernando Uribe. Also, don't forget to follow the Hudson Media Group on Instagram and Twitter, as well as yours truly as well. And of course, for all you people that love YouTube and who doesn't, click the subscribe button and you'll be notified of all the outstanding content brought to you by the Hudson Media Group every single week, whether it's Talking Politics with Fernando Uribe, whether it's Hudson County View Live with John Highness, whether it's The City Show with Pat O'Melia, and all the other great content brought to you by the Hudson Media Group. You'll learn about it once you subscribe on YouTube. Folks, always remember, hey, if it's unbiased, unfiltered, and unafraid, it's always Talking Politics right here with the Hudson Media Group. I am New Jersey's premier award-winning journalist, Top 50 Latino, as voted on by the Latino Spirit Online magazine and the United States Latino Affairs Initiative, certainly the weapon of mass disruption in Garden State media. Certainly the traffic will tell you, ladies and gentlemen, the people's choice and the people's voice, and without a doubt, the most handsome face that runs the place. It's me, Fernando Uribe. Folks, thank you so much for tuning in here to the Hudson Media Group, and always, thank you so much for tuning in to Talking Politics with Fernando Uribe. Happy Halloween, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy yourselves. Please party responsibly. And as always, thanks for stopping by. Folks, before we call it a day here, it is October, and as you all know, I'm very dedicated to the American Cancer Society during Breast Cancer Awareness Month, which is indeed every October. And I'm proud to remind you that coming up on Thursday night, October the 26th, at the world-famous Lolita's located in North Bergen along River Road, I'll bring you the 2023 edition of your Professor's Quest to Save Breasts. I'll be sharing more information the entire month of October here on this program, but mark it on your calendars for 7 p.m. Thursday night, October the 26th. We'll have drink specials, happy hour appetizers, obviously there, dinner opportunities, raffles, great music by DJ Ziggy Roman, and I'll be joined by my amazing co-hosts, Vladimir Carrero, Sandra Ramirez, Courtney Gilroy, and Christina Kostovsky, as we'll be doing our part to help defeat breast cancer on Thursday night, October the 26th. We're doing our part to help defeat breast cancer once and for all. So once again, join us, and all proceeds will benefit the American Cancer Society and making strides against breast cancer. And that's our show for this week. Once again, to check out all the excellent programming brought to you by the leader in independent media right here in Hudson County, the Hudson Media Group, please check out their websites, www.hmgtvshows.com, as well as www.livestream.com/hmgtv. Don't forget to like the Hudson Media Group on Facebook, as well as liking Talking Politics with Fernando Uribe as well. Make sure you follow them on Instagram and Twitter, as well as myself at the Fernando Zone. It's the same handle on both platforms. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you subscribe to the Hudson Media Group on their YouTube page. It takes 2 seconds. Subscribe, and you'll get all the notifications for all their outstanding programming as it becomes available. Always remember, ladies and gentlemen, if it's unbiased, unfiltered, and unafraid, it's always Talking Politics right here with the Hudson Media Group. I am New Jersey's premier award-winning journalist, Top 50 Latino, as voted on by the Latino Spirit Online magazine, the weapon of mass disruption in Garden State media, and without a doubt, folks, the people's choice and the people's voice, and of course, the most handsome face that runs the place. Yes, it's me, Fernando Uribe, folks, saying thank you so much for watching, and thanks for stopping by.